Hi, this is Dushio, and welcome back to Echo. In the last episode, we kind of found a letter, like a treasure hunt, from our friend who passed away several years ago. So we're going to check it out, obviously at night, because that's what you do, and hopefully nothing bad's going to happen, but we shall see. The forest is really just a patch of trees on the side of the road near Leo's house. While it's technically small, it still covers several acres, which is enough to get lost in. The sky is a soft blue now, just enough light to see by. It won't be long before that won't be the case though. I pull off to the side of the road in the spot where I think the birdhouse might be. It's been well over a decade since the last time I've seen it. This is probably where the treasure hunt is going to end, considering the time that's passed. The birdhouse probably isn't even there anymore. We all step out of the car into the warm evening air. Cole folds his arms on the hood of the car and grins at me. See, even with the sun god it's roasting, at least you can drive me home now. Yeah. I look over at Leo's house, but his truck's gone. TJ catches my glance. I might tell him what's going on if we find something and you want him to join us. TJ picks at his claws. It's okay. I give him a quick side hug as we step up to the edge of the trees. I can see why TJ doesn't want to tell Leo about this. He was right about Leo pretending it didn't happen. I can't imagine it would go well if we told him about drudging up old Sydney scavenger hunts. So, where is it? Jenna looks into the empty ditch between us and the forest, wrinkling her nose at the old scraps of garbage in the side. Well, Cole looks up and down the tree line, squinting. It kinda looks different now, but I think it's about here. It's only like 10 feet in, right? Cole looks at me. That's about right, yeah. We can fan out and check all the trees that close to the road. TJ jumps across the ditch lightly, much more lightly than the clumsy hop I execute right after. I land unevenly on the opposite incline and windmill my arms as I lean back. Carl starts laughing before I even fall, but TJ reaches out and grabs me by the shirt, yanking me back up from the ditch. I fall into him awkwardly and quickly step back, brushing myself off, even though there isn't anything on me. You okay? I'm fine, thanks. I glare over at Cole, who's still laughing. Did you even try, man? He leaps over easily, clearing the ditch along with a few more feet. That's not fair, I'm an otter, dude. Don't let that hold you back from achieving your dreams. Jenna elects to delicately step around the garbage before climbing up the other side. It's okay, you swim better than any of us, Chase. I sigh. Thanks, TJ. I turn back to the forest, which is much darker as the light struggles to filter through the branches and leaves. Well, let's start before it gets too dark. As we spread out amongst the trees, I'm struck at how quiet it is. The only sound is the crunch of our feet on the dead vegetation, and that starts to fade as the others move further away from me. I zigzag through the trees, trying to get a look at their full circumferences. From what I remember, the birdhouse was a plain old wooden thing that hardly stood out from the trunk that it was attached to. We might not see it, even if we were looking right at it. While it's been a long time, walking between these trees does bring back some memories. We stopped coming here after what happened to Sydney, mainly because this was his favourite place to hang out. He liked to play capture the flag here. I can still remember how fast he was, how I'd only catch glimpses of his tail between the trees before he disappeared with the flag. His team won almost every time. The summer of 2002 was the last time we played. Sydney had been getting along better with TJ then. That might have been the best summer of my life until it happened. It was almost like Echo saw us having too much fun and wanted to end it. For good. Sydney had still been a dick though. The image of Sydney whipping TJ mercilessly with the towel we used as a flag comes to mind. I move closer to the edge of the tree line before slanting back in again. Looking up between the branches, I see that the sky is a darker blue now. Pretty soon, it's going to be pitch black. It was about this light the last time I was here. I'd come alone, I was 10, maybe 9. It's hard to remember now, but I think I'd got there because I was sad. I had good memories of the forest, so I thought going there might make me feel better. I was standing in the forest, waiting to see if I did feel better. It didn't happen, so I sat down in the leaves and started crying. I was there for maybe 5 minutes before I heard some branches creaking above me. I looked and saw feet swinging around. This confused me, so I stood up and backed away, staring up as I slowly realised I was seeing a fox being hung by its neck. Even now I can remember the way he looked, his overalls and his white shirt. His head had been tilted down toward me, and his tongue lying out of his muzzle, his eyes blank. I can even remember what looked like pinkish red blood on his white fur of his chin. And then I tripped over a branch, and when I looked back up, he was gone. I can't remember much after that, except that I'd gone home and told my parents. That ended up with me seeing a doctor. They never found anything wrong with me, at least anything that might relate to seeing things. In the end, we were told that sometimes kids hallucinate, and that it would stop happening as I got older. I hug myself, feeling cold and a little scared now that I've brought up that old memory. While I know I was at the age where kids hallucinate most often, I still can't get out of my mind how real it had been. Still, that's not exactly what's giving me the chills right now, because I just realised that had been the summer after Sydney's passing. And that's why I was sad, because I remembered how happy the summer had been before that. So, what Sydney wrote doesn't make any sense, unless I'm going crazy. A creak behind me makes me jump, and I whirl around, eyes scanning the branches, terrified of what I might find. But there's nothing there, just branches creaking in the wind. I stare for a while longer, before a shout from far down the line of trees makes me jump. Found it! It's TJ's voice, high-pitched and excited. I shake myself out of my trance and start jogging towards where the lynx's voice had come from. Maybe I've confused things, and I'm remembering things incorrectly. It's the only thing that makes sense. As I come up on the lynx, Carl and Jenna are already there, standing around the tree trunk. Sure enough, a little wooden birdhouse is tied to the trunk with rusty wires. I can't believe it's still here. It does look pretty beat up. Jenna points to a little wooden plug in the opening. It's closed. You think it's been closed the whole time? I don't know, maybe. TJ pokes at the plug with a claw, then grips around the edges with all his claws before gently pulling the wooden cork-like thing out. A thick, sticky-looking trail of cobwebs follows it. We all stare into the dark hole that's revealed. Chase, want to reach in there? I'm sure there's no spiders. I shiver, involuntary. I don't want to do it either. Jenna sighs before pushing past TJ. Bending over, she picks up a twig and sticks it into the hole before swirling it around. When she pulls it back out, it's like she's made a cotton candy cone of spider webs. She drops that and then takes out her phone, turning on the flash before holding it up to the opening. Well, we all wait anxiously for her to say something. There is something there. With that, she reaches in with just her fingers. After a few crinkling sounds, she pulls out a Ziploc bag, and inside is a folded up piece of paper and a blue comb. Holy shit, no way! Well, no one ever comes back here, so I guess it makes sense. He actually put a comb in there to make it rhyme? Damn. Jenna makes a few jerking motions away from the birdhouse to get rid of the cobwebs. She looks around and sticks it out to me. Since you read the last one? Okay. I glance at TJ, but he doesn't make any indication that he might want it. The bag is covered in what looks like dirt and cobwebs. A few clumps of both dangle from the bottom. I open it carefully, and when I pull out the paper, I can tell it's been wet a few times. It's a little crumpled, but when I unfold it, the water damage isn't bad enough that I can't read it. Still, the paper immediately splits in two this time, and I have to hold them together as I read it. It's dark to the point where I have to have Cole hold up his phone to give me some light. Good job, but this was a little easy, right? Next we'll find out how brave you are. I know this was already a scary test for Chase, but that doesn't count. Do you really remember? Get a flashlight to make sure Leo's with you. Here it is. Stay in school. It will be cool. We'll have fun in 301. I hope you don't die. Sid. We're all quiet for a moment, and TJ giggles. I look at him, but he's covering his mouth with a hand so I can't see him smiling. That's not really a riddle, is it? I smile. Go easy on him, he was a kid. Sorry. So, the old school in room 301? I assume that's what he meant by a test of courage. Shoot. He went there all by himself. I wouldn't even do that now. Yeah, it is a little weird. That feeling that something isn't right grows inside my chest. Well, we have to break the law to get in there. We'd be trespassing. Jenna glances at TJ because we all know the lynx wouldn't dare break the law. Besides, it's getting late. Maybe we can go check it out tomorrow. One of us can go in for you, TJ. TJ looks up at the sky, where stars are starting to twinkle through the branches. Well, if we're going to trespass, we should do it at night, right? Jenna's mouth falls open. What? TJ looks flustered. I mean, we don't have all that much time left here, so we should probably get as much done as we can. So you're okay with breaking the law? Well, yeah, if it means we can finish this. We all stare at him. I don't know what else to say. I just really want to get this done. It feels right. We're quiet for a moment before Cole claps his hands together. Well, alright then, let's go. We still got a few hours before I'm going to bed. Jenna sighs loudly. Okay, but I want to get back before 10 so that I can finish my papers. Yeah, don't worry, onward. Carl marches ahead of us, taking a running leap to cross the ditch. I look back at TJ, who's still looking fidgety again. Hey, we'll finish this before we have to leave, okay? TJ gives me a small smile. Okay. Carl says that a cop still patrols Echo randomly at least once a night. Because of that, we let Jenna sit out in the car and keep watch. If someone shows up, she'll text us, which should give us time to get out the back of the school. It'd still look suspicious as hell, but as long as we're not caught on the property and have some sort of excuse, we should be fine. At least that's what Cole says. We stand there in front of the door, and I notice that a couple of chains hang loosely off the door. No lock to be found. Well, at least that hasn't changed. Cole shrugs. Teenagers break in all the time, no point in putting the lock back on every time. Cole gives the door a shove, and it slides open very slowly, letting out an unearthly squeal as it does. The three of us stand there, staring into the darkness. Is this like an abandoned school? TJ fidgets next to me, having second thoughts. No. His voice comes out in a crackly squeak that Cole snorts at. It's just dark. Nighttime has a way of doing that, my man. Good thing I charged my phone before we left. Cole takes out his phone from his pocket and holds it up before turning on the light. Oh, mine's almost dead. We can share. Okay, Cole sweeps the light inside, revealing graffiti-covered walls and dirt-covered floors. Nice. I look back and see Jenna staring at us from the car. She gives me a thumbs up. I inhale deeply. Well, let's go. I take out my own phone and step inside as TJ follows me. Cole stands next to us, spinning in a circle. Well, it's not that creepy. Okay, so the room's here in the 200s. TJ points up at the doorway next to us, a small label above it reading 203. So that means we gotta go up a floor? Cole sweeps his light around and points to the staircase. Shall we then? Those things better be stable. Cole points his light up the staircase. I can see some graffiti up there, so it's probably fine. The ram leads the way, at first tentatively setting a hoof on the first step before testing the next. Yeah, it's good. And with that, he shies up the stairs, while TJ and I are following a little more hesitantly. Why don't they just demolish the place? Heard they wanted to turn it into a museum. I can't see why though. Carl shines his light on the railing, the wood rotted and broken. Hey, do you guys remember when Chase saw something staring out from one of the windows up here? Oh gosh, please don't talk about that right now. Do you even remember that, Chase? Oh, yeah actually, that was a long time ago. I hardly remembered it, but I do remember seeing a dark form in one of the windows. I've been positive it was just an object sitting in the room, but I'd wanted to tell my friend that I'd seen a ghost. It was nothing like what I saw in the trees. Thinking about it now, it's creeping me out though. Stop. TJ whines as we reach the top of the stairs, then, clearly trying to change the subject, points up at the door. Okay, 305, so maybe this way? Chase, let me see your phone. TJ takes it from me and points it up at the next door over. Yeah, 304, last one down. He hands me back my phone and stands there a moment. Carl chuckles. You want me to go first? You scared? TJ glares at him. Come on guys, I want to get out of here too. Okay. Carl leads the way again, down the hall to the very end. There's more stuff in the way on this floor with a lot of desks and chairs. Carl keeps his light up, counting down the doors. Oh, 303, 2, and 30... Fuck. TJ jumps a foot in the air, and I point my light at Cole. What? Cole turns around sheepishly, rubbing his hip. Ran into this stupid desk, hurts like a mother. Really, Cole? TJ clings to me, taking a deep breath. But here's the door. Cole points the light back up, above the door, and sure enough, there's a 301 up there. TJ and I stand next to him, both staring into the dark room. Hey, I think this might actually be the room you saw the thing staring at you from. Cole? There's a warning tone in TJ's voice. I rub my chin. Actually, yeah, I think it is. TJ sighs loudly and closes his eyes. Guys, please, can we just... Oh, yeah, oh god. Cole thrusts his hands into TJ's sides as he yells, sending TJ into a hysteric fit of screaming and grabbing onto me. I stumble as I try to keep the lynx from rending my flesh with his claws. Oh shit, I'm sorry, ow! Cole reaches out to, I assume, comfort TJ, but gets a backhand across the face in response. You ass. I watch the two of them with wide eyes, never having seen TJ so indignant. Cole stares back, a hand up on his cheek. Wow. Okay, let's start looking. As if nothing had happened, TJ takes my phone and strides into the room, his tail twitching in irritation. I can't believe you slapped me. Cole calls after him, but gets no response. I smile, try not to laugh as I walk past the ram. Can you? He asks me, rubbing his cheek as he follows me in. Hey, you asked for it. Probably not the best time to be scaring him. Yeah, whatever. What the hell are we looking for anyway? I look around. From what I can see, there's not much left in the room. A few desks are pushed up against the wall, and aside from a chalkboard and a map at one end of the room, there's nothing else. I go over to stand by TJ at the other end of the room, looking at the desks. There's not much in here, is there? TJ sweeps the light around the room, frowning. Not really. He points the light at Cole, who's at the other end of the room by the chalkboard. Anything written on the chalkboard, Cole? Cole shines his light on the board and gasps. What? There is. There's a whole lot of dick. Cole steps to the side, pointing his light at the board, and sure enough, is covered with countless drawings of dicks. TJ sighs. I mean, we were bound to hit a roadblock eventually. Wait, I trail off, staring at the window at the far end of the room, where I see a small-looking box on a ledge. What's that? I point, and TJ shines the light over at it. A metal toolbox glints back at us. TJ immediately walks over to it, and I follow him. Cole joins us as TJ fiddles with the latches, popping them open. There's a soft creak as he lifts the lid, the tray extending out as it does. And there, sitting in the tray, is another folded piece of paper. No way was this thing sitting around for 11 years. No way. Yeah, makes no sense. Why not? TJ gently picks up the note, handing me back my phone. Shine that on this for me, please. Someone would have taken it by now. Well, they didn't, see? TJ had unfolded it, and he showed me the handwriting, the exact same we'd seen on the other two notes. I frown, but I don't say anything more. Maybe it did just sit here for the past 10 years, no one wanting to bother with an old-looking toolbox. But this place is broken into regularly, with the whole point being to take stuff. Someone definitely should have taken it by now. This is all on top of the idea that Sydney came in here as a little kid just to hide a note. Something isn't right, and I'm starting to feel uneasy. I don't have time to dwell on that though, as TJ begins to read. So, you went to the school. You found it with some tools. Next, go to where I sleep. It's where I keep my secrets, something Chase can't keep. Sid. It's silent for a moment as we all take that in. I feel my face flush and my fur prickle as I wonder what the hell that last line's supposed to mean, and a lot of these clues mention Chase. It seems quite targeted. Cole and TJ don't look at me, but I can sense that they want to. Cole is the first one to make a sound, clearing his throat. So, Sydney's bedroom, maybe? That's what I'm thinking. This is a kid writing this stuff, so it should be pretty straightforward. I shake my head. Really, guys? TJ finally looks over at me. What? There's a defensive tone in TJ's voice, and I know he knows what I'm about to say. This is way too much. TJ frowns at me. Too much what? You know. I trail off, not used to TJ looking at me this way. He lets the silence drag on, and I look over Cole for help. He clears his throat again. You know, Tej, this is pretty weird. Like someone would have probably taken it by now. Why does that have to be the case? People could just have missed it. We almost did. TJ looks back down at the note, holding it in both paws. I reach out for it, but TJ pulls it back, like I'm going to try and steal it from him. Can I look for a sec? TJ hesitates, and then holds it out to me slowly. I eye the links as I reach out, taking the note from him gently. TJ's behaviour alone has me deciding that this whole thing is definitely a bad idea. The note looks old, just like the first two we found. The writing looks the same too. Maybe it is possible that Sydney came in here to hide the note, wanted to make the scavenger hunt especially scary for us. But still, I can't shake the feeling that something's off about it. I need to find time to really think about this. For now though, I hand the paper back to TJ, who takes it from me gingerly, as if worried it's going to fall apart. Cole, do you know who lives in Sydney's old house now? Cole tips his head back as if thinking. Oh, I can't remember his name, but he's a red panda, I think. Well, let's go then. I'll give a start. To the house? His family moved out right after it happened, so there's no way he's still there, TJ. The other two were. This is different, though. Might as well try. I can't imagine going up to the new homeowner and telling him about Sydney and this posthumous scavenger hunt and him just letting us in. But the determined look on TJ's face tells me right away that I won't be able to talk him out of it. I sigh. Well, can we at least do it tomorrow? I look at my phone. It's almost 10. TJ doesn't say anything as he looks out of the window, his face barely visible in darkness. Cole shifts around next to me. Yeah, I'm getting pretty tired. We'll have all day tomorrow. TJ suddenly turns around and heads for the door. Fine, but we are going. I am, at least. Cole glances at me, probably feeling as uneasy as I am. Hey, I'm coming too. Just think it'll be easier. TJ doesn't respond, and we make the rest of the treacherous journey out of the school in silence. Jenna looks up from her phone as I slide into the driver's seat. Find anything? Yeah. Another note? Yeah. Well, what did it say? I busy myself with searching my pockets for the keys, so Jenna turns in her seat to look at Cole and TJ. Well, next one is at Sydney's old house. What, really? Yeah, we're going there tomorrow. TJ doesn't offer anything more, so Jenna turns back around in her seat and gives me a look. She seems to sense the mood though, and doesn't question any further. As I stick the key into the ignition, TJ speaks up again. Chase, what did he mean by you not keeping secrets? A moment of silence goes by before I answer. I don't know, or I don't remember. It's been a long time. I lay awake next to TJ, listening to the lynx's steady breathing. I've been tossing and turning for the past 3 hours, trying to get some sleep, but my mind won't settle. This whole scavenger hunt has left me with such a bad taste in my mouth. Something about it is especially unsettling, and I've turned it over and over in my mind, examining it from every angle, and now I'm sure of it. I saw that fox hag in the forest after Sydney died. And that's why I was there in the first place, and that's why I'd been so sad. I turn over on my side, gripping my pillow in both paws as I stare at the wall, still listening to TJ's soft snoring behind me. So how the hell is any of this happening? It's scary, but not because I think Sydney's ghost is writing scavenger hunts, or think some stupid shit like that. No, someone wrote the notes pretending to be Sydney, and then planted them around the town for us to find. And that someone is likely one of us, Leo, Cole, Jenna or Flynn, or even TJ. Are any of us sick enough to do something like that? And if so, who? I try to remember if I told anyone about that incident in the forest before today, and honestly I can't remember. Apparently my mum had told some people about it, Jenna's parents for one. But I really can't imagine Jenna being among the aforementioned. Whoever's writing them seems to like singling me out too, mentioning the forest and how I told secrets. I roll back to stare at the ceiling and start wondering about TJ. He's been acting really strange for the past few days, his bright cheerful demeanour almost completely gone after we started the treasure hunt. I guess it's possible that he's upset enough to do something that's as crazy as this. Maybe I could make him feel like he's connecting to the person he'd watched die over a decade ago. Maybe he did it a long time ago, and it's only now that we've come across them. Maybe he can't remember because he buried those memories. Those papers do seem pretty old, but I can't shake the feeling that this person has it out for me in some way. I think about how Cole was the one to find the first letter, but I almost immediately dismiss the idea that Cole might be involved. He would have no reason to do it, unless the only other person I can even imagine doing this is Flynn. He was the one most upset about Sydney's death, aside from TJ. Cole and Flynn seem to have grown pretty close over the past year or so. Could the two of them be involved somehow? It's pretty suspicious that it would just show up in Cole's basement. I roll back to my side, preferring to stare at the wall. I don't like suspecting my friends like this, but this whole thing is messed up on so many levels, and I'm really worried about TJ. Depending on how this all ends, it could make things even worse for him. Considering how Flynn treated TJ at the river, I wouldn't be surprised if it's leading up to something terrible. And on top of all that, there's the insidious way that these rhymes refer to me. I decide that I'm going to have to do something after we find the next note, depending on what it says. If we even find it at all. I'm hoping that we don't. If you go in, I'll give you $1. No. $5. No. 10. No. You could buy like 20 candy bars with that money. I'm not going in. Okay, quit yelling. Carl and I swing side by side, synchronising our legs so that we swing back and forth at the same time. As always, it doesn't work because Carl's so much heavier than I am. The wind feels good on my fur, finally cooling me down after being out in the heat all day. Toby sits on top of the slide next to us, watching with a bored look on his face. It's my turn, Chase. In a minute. It's been like 15 minutes. Nuh-uh. Toby sighs and sits back pouting. I look back over at the old school and smile. But if you go inside, I'll let you. No. Toby's shout seems to echo around us and I giggle. Fine. We swing a little longer, the rhythmic squeaking of the chains being the only sound. When Sydney coming back with the popsicles, he's taking forever. Maybe his mum caught him and made him stay home? Carl leans far back in the swing, and I feel the entire thing shift around. I wonder if it's going to collapse. We should go to your house, Chase. It's too hot. I want to swing. I lower my feet and let them kick through the dirt as I slow myself down, sending a cloud of dust in the air. This talk about Sydney reminds me of something I've been told about yesterday, and now that he isn't here. Hey guys, my mum told me something about Sid yesterday. Toby's already slid down the slide and walked up next to me, holding one of the chains on the swing as he tries to push me out of the seat. Don't push me, Toby. Don't you want to hear it? It's a secret. I move to stand between the two swings as Cole kicks his hooves into the dirt next to us. Keep swinging, Cole. I want to swing with you. Wait, what's the secret? Swing, Cole. Wait, it's really weird. That seems to finally catch Toby's attention and he settles down. What? Carl and Toby stare at me for the first time and I feel a little worried about telling them, but having their full attention like this is kinda cool. You know what happened to Sid's dad a while ago when school started, right? Yeah. Cole completely stopped on the swing now, staring at me. Well, my mum says the cops think it's really weird what happened. Sydney's dad died. He's in heaven now. Toby says it matter-of-factly and starts to swing a little again. Even if you're a Mormon, you can go to heaven. My dad said so. Yeah, but do you know how he died? I start whispering and look over my shoulder at the dirt road to see if Sid is coming. It's empty for now. He accidentally got shot when he was hunting with Sid. That's what the adults told us, that he was accidentally shot, maybe while he was loading his gun. My mum said they aren't sure if that really happened, though. What do you mean? Toby seemed to have taken interest again and stopped swinging, staring at me. Well, maybe Sid did something. Cole frowns. Like Sydney did it. I mean, I don't know, but my mum said to be careful around him just in case. Toby's eyes suddenly widen even more as he suddenly understands. Sydney killed his dad? Quiet. Toby flinches as I grab his muzzle with one paw, squeezing it shut. You have to keep it secret. Toby just sits there, staring at me. Cole does the same. Now I kind of wish that I hadn't told him. They don't know, though. My mum just said to be careful, and that's it. It might have been an accident. I talk kind of fast, like I'm trying to take back what I just said. I let go of Toby, and he just sits there and doesn't swing. Cole just stares at the ground, and then his ears flick up. A few seconds later, I hear scuffing footsteps making their way up the dirt road, and I turn to see Sydney jogging towards us. His arms were filled with colourful ice pops wrapped in plastic. Hey, sorry. I had to go into the basement freezer to find some. They're the Super Wolf Pops. He stumbles up next to us, kicking up another cloud of dust. He stands there for a second, breathing heavy, sweating through his thick fur. Grab one? The three of us reach out automatically and take one of our own. Mine is partially melted already, blue liquid pouring at one end of the plastic. Sydney frowns at us. What were you guys talking about? Nothing. Cole says it almost before Sydney could finish his sentence. Sydney glares. Yeah, right. What were you saying about me? Sydney turns on me, and I just shake my head, busying myself with opening the plastic. Then Sydney turns to Toby, his glare turning into a smirk. Okay, Tobias, you better tell me what you were talking about. I feel my stomach turn, even as I open the package and turn it upside down to pour the sweet blue juice into my mouth. Tell me, I'm gonna wrestle ya. Sydney goes at Toby with his paw up, baring his blunt claws. Toby eyes him for a moment, but once Sydney gets close, the lynx twists out of his way like only a cat can. Don't touch me. Toby hides behind Carl and I as Sydney turns to watch him, lowering his paw slowly. What's wrong? Toby doesn't say anything, standing behind me quietly. I can feel his cold ice pop pressing against my back. We stand in silence for a while, and I can see Sydney trying to figure out what's going on. I try to think of something fast. Hey, let's go to my house and play on the trampoline. Yeah. Cole hops out of the swing and starts walking toward the road. I follow him as Toby clings to my side. Sydney doesn't follow, and after a moment I turn back to look at him. He's glaring at me. What? He goes on glaring, before throwing his ice pop onto the dirt and running past us. You guys suck. He runs up the road and back toward town, disappearing into the bright sunset. Bad flashbacks. Bad flashbacks. Okay, we're going to leave it there. This is Usho signing off, and hopefully I'll see you next time.